I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words but of deeds, achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturalists, in the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in our ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in a life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself, in less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends on me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Born in a Barn. Today we are doing a special episode about FFA because it's National FFA Week.
Yep, so we're just gonna kind of highlight some of our past FFA experiences and what the organization can provide to anybody. Everybody's welcome in FFA, and it's not just for farmers. Everybody's in it, and it's a good leadership building organization.
So what you heard in the opening was the FFA Creed, and that's really the pillars of what the organization stands for.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the first speaking contest that most FFA members participate in. They do that their freshman year most of the time, and it's just a good way to start public speaking and get prepared for years to come. I mean, it's just good way to start. And then up through the speaking contests, we do a lot of different ones, practice job interviews for contests and prepared speaking and that kind of thing. And then we do parliamentary procedure too, so opening and closing meetings and how to go about that. So it's good practice, and it's practical for lots of different occupations.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, talk about SAEs.
Sure.
So an SAE is a supervised agricultural experience, and most members should have them. It's just like, it helps you build skills for the workforce or a career that you're interested in, and there's lots of different opportunities. I did an entrepreneurship one, so I owned some cattle through high school and started building my herd through high school that I now have, and then I just worked for all of it. I mean, it was just got me a head start on what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to do pretty early, so that was helpful. And then lots of other people did placement ones, so they go and work at a job. Lots of landscaping ones, and there was a couple that did golf course ones, and even into food service side of things. So there's a vast spectrum of opportunities, and it's just a good way to start building a skill set. So career development events, our CDE contests, are where our members go and they participate in judging contests. And I did dairy judging, poultry judging, and trying to think what else. Soil judging, and then safe tractor operator contest too. That was one of my favorites. But so pretty much the dairy judging one, we just went through and you judge cattle on body condition and type and all of the stuff that we go through on, and then we compete against other chapters, and you just it's like a normal contest.
Yeah, so first of all, you place the animals in the order, and then you often have to give reasons.
Yep.
Which is the more difficult portion of the contest. But we'll talk more about dairy judging probably in another episode, where we'll clue you in on more of what you're looking at for judging. And
then poultry judging, that was we had a good team. We went to state a couple years, and that was pretty interesting because you did everything from live birds to eggs and incubation, and then you had a whole test. I mean, it was a big test about poultry, and that was a lot of fun because you had everything in poultry production. So even meat grading was in there, and then let's see, soil contest. That was, you literally went out and judged soil, but there's lots of different criterias for soil. So they would dig pits at every spot location where we were judging it, and then you'd have a soil test there to reference to, and you'd have to judge the slope, so your incline on the field and what the land was being used for, how much topsoil was left and subsoil, and then we had to determine which type of soil it was, so like blocky or granular, and then silt loam or clay or sand, that kind of thing. And it was that was a fun competition too. You got outdoors, and it just taught you how to look a little closer at the soil. And then safe tractor driving competition, that was a lot of fun. I went to state twice. I got second one year and I won it the next year, and that is, you have to back a 4-wheel wagon in and a 2-wheel wagon. You have to take a 2-wheel trailer through a course, and those are pretty much, there's golf balls on top of stakes, and you don't want to knock any of them off, but you want to go as fast as you can. So pretty much the fastest and the cleanest run wins on that part. But there's also a test on kind of egg mechanics, sort of, and then what you shouldn't do on a tractor and how to stay safe, and some of the road laws that were with it. And then we had one more portion of that was they had a tractor with multiple problems that you had to do a pre-inspection on, and you had to catch all of the problems with it. So, like, for instance, if they had a wrench sitting on the driver's platform, that was a no-no. So you had to mark that down and, like, just do a pre-inspection go through. If there was a flat tire or something, you had to mark that down. So you had kind of 4 different sections of this whole contest, so it all wrapped up into one. It wasn't just driving a tractor, but it was a fun contest.
Stuff you still use today, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So, I remember I did dairy judging for a while until the event was scheduled the same time as a solo ensemble competition for the music groups in the high school, and then I decided to do those music competitions instead of dairy judging one year. But there is actually a music component to the FFA also. There's a state and national FFA band and choir. And so I had the honor of accompanying the state FFA choir for several years. I actually don't remember how many years. But both the ensembles were under amazing leadership in our state, and it's a really great time. You go down a day or two early to the state convention, and then I sang in the national FFA choir. And so I think we went a week or a few days anyways beforehand. And so basically we're kind of the entertainment for the conventions, which we'll talk about in a second. But you really meet, 40 or 50 musicians from all over the state who also are, farm and agriculture kids. So it's a really special community. So we should talk about the conventions.
Yep. So state convention is in the middle of June every year, and it's just a lot of fun. You go down, and if you have a state degree in your chapter, somebody that's receiving it, you get to go watch them walk across the big stage. And there's a couple of agri-science fairs and that kind of thing. And then one of the big things that I did for a few years down there was I was a delegate. So then we would vote to elect our new state officers, and that was pretty cool too, because you got to know them before they were even in office. And it's just so then when you're down there, you can I received a couple of proficiency awards when I was down there for my SAEs, and I received my state degree as well as my dad and Uncle Tim did, and my brother. And so we got to walk across the stage a few times down there, and that was fun. And then
we should say Dad was a state officer, which is really cool.
Yep. And then national convention, that has switched between, back when our dad was in FFA, that was down at Kansas City, and he just enjoyed it all the time down there. But when we were in it, most of the time for you it was in Indianapolis. Yep. And both of the times I went, it was in Louisville, Kentucky. But it was a lot of fun to go down and then see some of the national winners of the proficiencies go across the stage and stuff. And I received my American degree, so that was fun to get to walk across the stage there too. But it's just kind of a recap of everything he did over the year. I mean, on the state level.
At both of these conventions, it's everyone's wearing their official dress.
Yep.
And so you get to see everyone. You're wearing your blue corduroy jacket, which has your state and your school on it. So at state convention, you're like, oh, look, that person's from wherever.
Yep.
And then looking at the schools and nationals, you get to see people from all across the country.
Yep.
And so it really builds an amazing sense of community.
Yep. So this is my Farmall H, and I restored this for an FFA project. This was in pretty good shape when I got it, but I gave it a new paint job and everything. And I got to take it down to Madison for state convention. And one of the pretty cool things about it is I got all these tires for free through the Titan tire program for FFA. And if you come around here, there's one. There's the FFA emblem on the tires.
There we go. So you tore it all apart?
Yep. Yeah, I stripped it all down and got most of the sheet metal sandblasted and then everything else I cleaned up with the flap discs and wire wheel and gave it a new coat of paint.